Mary Lou Foster. It says my live is starting, so kind of giving it a second to get caught up with me. Yep, it looks like it's live. I'm going to turn my calendar here so I can see the right dates. We were off camping this week, and I haven't been in my craft room to move my calendar forward. If you hear rumbling and see flashes of light, we're having a little bit of a thunderstorm. This is Mary Lou Foster, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Northeast Texas, which is up in the corner halfway between Dallas and Texarkana. I always explain where I'm located because Texas is a huge state, and our side of Texas is the green side of Texas. I think someone has hopped on. Welcome. Happy to share the time with you. Hopefully lightning won't cause a problem with the internet. That was one of my concerns, but I decided just to go ahead. I told you I was going to be here. If you are joining me, if you'll comment, I'll know who's watching. So today's card is one that we made in my card class on the 29th, I believe it was, 25th, sorry. So it was a little over a week ago now. It used the circle sayings. This stamp set is one of those stamp sets that if you don't have other stamps that, because you can't decide, some of them are strictly birthdays, some of them are masculine, they have different themes. This one includes stamps that say happy birthday, thank you, a warm hello, thinking of you, celebrate. So this would be a very useful, even just for the sentiments that you can put on the outside of the card. You would have to handwrite something on the inside, but the layout for this card kind of helps decorate the inside a little bit. So we're using that, and of course the punch that they have, Stampin' Up has added back their circle punches to their offerings. So this is the 2 3/8 inch. No more having to go use the dies to cut your circles. They did discontinue those dies. I'm using an embossing folder, using another punch to punch the shape for our center label. So it's Boho blue. You've seen our new in colors by now, and Boho blue is one of them. I pretty much like blue, no matter, and it looks so great with some of the other blues we have. So this card is cut for 5.5 by, I believe I cut an inch off of it. I actually cut it 5.5 by 8.5, and have cut, sorry, I didn't check on my measurements. I forgot that I had done that. So if I, at the 8.5, surely cut 1.5 inches off of it, because now it measures 8 inches. Nope, I guess I cut 1/2 inch off. My math is a little off today. Well, anyway, and it scored like at the 4 1/4 for, you slide it in, you scored at 4 1/4. So that means that this side is going to not be 4 1/4. See, math, I can get away with it if I just do it that way. And here's the cute thing. The way that I'm going to put my designer series paper, I'm going to slide it up underneath the front, so the stripes show on that side, but I have some polka dots going on the inside. So that's a kind of a cute way. The other kits that I made for my class, the front was also the 4 1/4. So their piece just laid here on the top, and you couldn't see because I didn't cut that edge off for them. Or I might have. I don't actually remember. That was a week ago. So I'm going to go ahead. I want my stripe though on the outside, and I'm going to put my adhesive, I think I'll put it on the polka dot side. And I've been making cards today, and this crazy Stampin' Seal. Every now and then you get one that refuses to roll. Just about drives me crazy. So the secret for mounting that, I don't stick that top on until I kind of have it all lined up and make sure that it's even with the bottom, and then I can stick it. And since it was only a ½ inch, I only have ½ inch of my polka dot showing. I could have slid it up underneath, which is what I did for this one, so that I had, you know, the inch, because this piece was cut 5½ by an inch. So it kind of depends on how you want to mount it. This time I mounted it on the top, and I don't have as much polka dot showing on the inside. I hope that makes sense to you. I'm seeing it. Okay, like I said, I've used an embossing folder on the vellum. It just gives it that. This one is called Stripes and Splatters, and it gives it sort of a watery look. I didn't think the stripes, I guess they would have worked, but they were too linear for what I wanted. And it's just really cool. I have already run it through. My piece of vellum is cut just the right. I believe it's 3 by 5 and 1/4 of, yeah, 5½. And I'm not going to stick it down. These are the Stripes and Splatters come together in the catalog. They're the 3D embossing folders. And it's a cool way to add texture to your projects. So, like I said, I'm not going to stick that one down, because what I need to work on next is our center panel. And you may have noticed that it has the rays of the sun. And here's what I told them to do. To use a pencil and very lightly mark along the arc of this circle. And we're not stamping those rays all the way around. That lets them know where the edge of their circle is going to go. We're stamping them in copper clay. I think the only reason I chose that color was because it was a new core color. Actually, yeah, I think it's a new in color. So I'm going to start that one up here at the top. And since I know where my circle is, I can do it right to the edge. And I'm just kind of gently tapping this stamp. And then I can spin it. And I can either overlap it just a little bit right here, make them kind of hold hands. You can recess it just a little, as long as you know for sure. Probably recess that one too much. For sure, I do want it at least touching, if not just a little dab below the line. And you can't even see the circle. It is covered. And we're going to work on the inside sentiment. I didn't tell you that designer series paper comes out of the 2023-25 in color 6x6 pack. To show you the different patterns. I've used the stripes and polka dots. The other blue has hearts and a graphic pattern. So they have the 4 patterns front and back of all 5 of the colors. So you get 40 sheets of paper in a pack. The 5 colors, 8 sheets. 5 times 8 is 40. Whoops. My tub just went flying. Alright, this is going to be Thinking of You. I'm going to set that one out of the way for just a second. I'm going to stamp my sentiment first along the edge of the circle. And I'm sorry if I get my head in the way. You could stamp it on just a scratch piece of cardstock and punch it out later. for class, I went ahead and punched the circles for them. Try to do some of the steps to save a little bit of time. Ouch. So are you on my email list? My email list is the best way to keep up with my goings, because I'm adding a new card class to go option, and I've been advertising it through email. So if you're not on my email list, you need to do that. Just my email is here on my Facebook page, or comment that you want to sign up and I'll send you the link. I have a blog, Mary Lou Foster Bright Star Stampers. When you go to that blog, the pop-up box asks if you would like to sign up for my email list. Now, coloring. On the sample card, I use the blending brushes. On, I did just a suggestion here of another way, a little bit more control alternative, using the Stampin' Blends. So what I think I'm going to do this time, because, you know, I always change it up, I'm going to use the Stampin' Blend to color, and this one is Delight, Daffodil Delight. You know, if you mash too hard on these, this brush end splays, and you don't get real good control with where you're coloring. So I'm going to make the sun a little bit more controlled, but I'm going to use my blending brushes now. Wish there was a way I could zoom in for you. And let me get a scratch piece of paper. You know, you kind of start off so you don't have that big blob of blue. The thing about the yellow and the blue, you know, remember what color yellow and blue make? Green. So you do have to be careful about overlapping these colors. Sometimes you want it to blend and sort of make a new color. I'm thinking you probably don't want that to happen for this one. So I'm just kind of going up slowly to the edge. Now let's add some Daffodil Delight. That was our mini brush. This is our regular size brush. Quite a bit of difference in the coverage that you get. Now let's do, I know what I can do. If you'll bear with me a moment, I'm going to lower this some. I feel like I'm way too far away from you being able to see. Now, I'm not worried about the copper clay smearing because it's had plenty of time to dry. Plus these are, yeah, I think I like that. And because it was a little bluer, you know, water's not a solid color, so that makes it look kind of realistic. Let's close this up. Alright. Straighten it up just a little bit. Let me show you how we squared off those corners. We have a punch called Very Best Trio Punch, and you can cut off the corner. You can add a decorative corner, or you can add like a hole to thread a ribbon through. But for this one, it didn't look right to leave it square. Certainly didn't look okay to make it a circle because I'm using a circle. So I'm like, ooh, let me try, see what happens if we do this. So look at that. It leaves you a little pile of triangles. The cool thing about it, you leave it sitting on your table. You put your paper up under it. Look how cool that is. I'm going to mount these on dimensionals because I want it to not sit flat on that label. Yeah, let's put 5. 1 in the middle and 4 around the edges. So anyway, let's go back to the email. Signing up for my email is the best way to know what I'm up to. And the information about that card class to go is in email. The link also posts here on this Facebook page. And I would suggest clicking on that because that opens the email and then you can read the information. I'm having coffee. If you know me, you know that's not surprising. Okay, so we're kind of ready now to get this put together. And when you're dealing with vellum, you know you have to be careful with your adhesive unless you don't mind dark splotches. So that's why I was kind of eyeing up where I'm going to put that label and where I want to put this. I think I'm going to kind of center it on the front of the card. And then this is mounted on some dimensionals for interest and to give it some pop. This card is really fairly easy, even though it's got a lot of steps, a few techniques, because you're coloring with different objects, different ways. You're doing some embossing. Take all those little backer papers off. And pop that on there. I'm lining up that square edge with the... No ribbon involved on this one, but I am using these awesome things. Adhesive back solid gems. Copper clay, boho blue, lemon lolly. And we've used copper clay and boho blue on our card. This one I used the copper clay. What you say we do boho blue this time. Let's put one over here. And let's put a big one right there. And there are 3 sizes. So I've used the 2 big ones. I do like the copper clay better. It kind of pops just a little bit. And on the inside, the piece of cardstock is a little bit different size. It doesn't totally cover the inside like what we usually do. And if you wanted to, I think I will. I'm going to embellish it a little bit with the copper clay and do some of the rays. Since this one is thinking of you, I don't really have a stamp that I can put on the inside of it that I've gotten out. I'm going to leave it blank. But, oh, it looks like eyelashes, doesn't it? Well, how about if I do it in all 4 corners? We can't have eyelashes. Yeah, this will work much better. If you wanted to, you could put a piece of designer series paper, but this is the size that you would use if you did not put this piece of paper here on the front and just left the card the smaller front. You don't want your liner to show, so it would just fit right up underneath there. Just barely. It would go a little higher. So there you go. That is the card using the circle sayings, stamp set, the 2 3/8 inch circle punch, You really wouldn't have to have a whole lot of supplies because you could definitely use whatever paper you wanted, any colors that you wanted. Um, it offers seashells, flowers, a cupcake. Definitely be using this one in classes some more because there are still lots of options that we can make it really cute and not look like that. Well, we've done that one before. Well, that was all that I had for you today, and I appreciate your time. I appreciate you watching. I will post the list of supplies, and if you would like to have more information about my card classes to go, comment that you want to be added to my email list, or go ahead and add yourself to it. There are several different ways to do it. I will put that link also in. Let me do this up because looking at it from there just kind of looks like a hot mess. But when you get it up here, you can see the sparklies. It's kind of pretty. All right. That's all for you today. Have a great day. Bye.